Hello, everyone. Welcome. And thank you so much for being here today for this talk, which is on modern day healing. My name is Vernon. I'm a journalist and a writer. And I'd say over the last decade, for various reasons, I have become fascinated by this subject. So I'm really lucky. I've been joined by an amazing panel who are going to make this come alive for all of us. Dr. Galyna, Dr. Mahsa, and Barr, who will now introduce themselves to you and tell you what they do in the field of healing. Galyna, do you want to go first?
Hello, my name is Dr. Galyna, and I'm an aesthetic doctor, and I specialize in body sculpting or body contouring, but I also do a little bit of wellness, a little bit of living, and I'm a psychiatrist in the past.
Lovely. Dr. Mahsa?
So, good afternoon. My name is Mahsa Nejati. My work is very simple. I'm going to ask you one question. It's going to be a challenging question this afternoon. I want you to turn to your neighbor. You look at your neighbor and you smile wide. Show your teeth, show your smile, show your gums. Okay, you all felt something. Did you feel uncomfortable? Did you feel embarrassed? Did you love to smile? Did you actually want to kiss the neighbor? So what I do, I will make sure that every single person will love their smile when they go to their neighbor. So that's what I do.
Thank you,
I do
Ross.
nothing as good as that.
Follow that, Ross.
My name's Barr. I'm a huge Vernon fan, and I won a competition to be here.
Mutual.
And I'm also an acupuncturist, and I specialise in what they call 5-element acupuncture, which is much more about treating the emotions than symptoms.
Ross was also once named the hot healer by Sunday Times Star magazine, and I know about that because I wrote that. Okay, so shall we begin? Dr. Galyna, I'd love to ask you what you mean, what healing, the idea of healing means to you, and how that works within aesthetics, because I don't think we naturally associate aesthetics with the healing process.
I want to ask myself that as well, because first of all, I'm a bit shaky, and it's the passion in me talking. I've been here since the morning, and I've heard every single panelist, and I've heard every single chat. And I'm sure you felt that as well. Resonates, right? Every single little mention, whether it was skin talk, whether it was hormone talk, pelvic floor talk resonated with me very well, thank you very much. So every single aspect of discussion, whether it is treatment rooms, where we're talking about hair loss, everything we discussed today resonated with me. Why? I was talking to one of my colleagues and I said, I'm coming out as a perimenopausal woman. There is absolutely nothing wrong with being self-aware. And this is where we are talking about modern healing. Yep. Now that I've come out as a perimenopausal woman, what do I do now?
So it's about understanding the state you're in and the place you're in, and then what you can do about it.
And where do I go? And where do I go from here? Because it's all good to talk about the problem, but what is the solution? And I feel incredibly privileged to be here on this panel, or actually today to be invited on the day, because we all represent a pathway to a solution. And what I do is, well, I've tried all my treatments on myself, so I'll tell you something works. We take the problem, and whether it is hormones, whether it is physiotherapy, whether it is skincare, face, body, what I do is I concentrate on the body. And the modern healing is incredible pathway from the past. So we start with the holistic approach. We talk then a little bit about technology and devices, because nobody sends fax anymore, right? Your mobile phone has evolved, so have aesthetic treatment. And now aesthetic medicine is no longer about how we look, full stop. And Dr. Alexis today talked about the importance of how we feel following aesthetic treatments. And I'm going to talk about how we feel in our body. So I want to introduce the concept of functional aesthetics. It's not only, when we come to body contouring, gone are the days where it was, oh, I'm going to pinch your fat, I'm going to freeze it, and it's going to be gone. Those days are gone. When we are talking about fat reduction, we are now thinking more about circumference of a female and male waist and how it affects our risk of heart disease.
So health is your primary kind of concern.
Absolutely.
Rather than aesthetics.
Absolutely. So, yes, I want to look good, but I also, more importantly, want to feel good in my aesthetic world. So when we talk about muscle, we've spoken about collagen, incredibly important aspect. We all know It's been covered by many journalists, such as incredible journalists, by like Polly and Rosie and all the every single moderator who's sat here today spoke about collagen loss, muscle loss. Nobody talks about that. Every single year, you lose, on average, 1% of your muscle bulk, whether you want it or not. Of course, if you exercise, you top it up. But if you don't, if your diet isn't well, if you don't exercise, whether you want it or not, just by living a day, you lose 1% of your muscle bulk. In a decade, 7-10% gone. That has incredible effect on your overall health. So there are treatments, and they're in one of the rooms, and I work with them every single day. There are treatments that can top up your muscle density. The fibers of your muscle will improve. That will hugely, and we're not only talking about pelvic floor, which has incredible effect on a woman's life. And I'm really sorry to say, if you suffer from it, you will know how much of a lifestyle impact it has.
So these are the things that you're focusing on, and these are the treatments that you offer, right?
I focus on functional aesthetic medicine when it comes to body treatments.
And what do you mean by functional aesthetic medicine?
If you have a little bit of unwanted fat, we can reduce it. Not because it's only going to look better in a pair of jeans, but because you're going to feel better. When we talk about muscle loss, postpartum muscle, or let's say age-related density loss of the muscle, we can top it up. When we are talking about skin, somehow we always talk about skin on the face. Face represents 3% of your entire body. We forget about 97% of you, which is still skin. I do vaginal rejuvenation, incredibly popular treatment, nothing to do with design of vagina, more to do with the function of that particular organ, because we lose collagen internally as well. I also work with pelvic floor muscles. I work with abdominal muscle, glutes. They are big core muscles. They're the ones that carry you every single day, so you want them to function well. We're talking about skin laxity. Does not only apply to a bit of jawline, also applies to pretty much everywhere. And you'll be surprised how popular knees are. Knees are incredibly popular.
So there's things that you can do for knees.
Oh my God, there's so many things.
What can you do for knees, Galyna?
Not only on the knees, but the knees represent not only an aesthetic area when it comes to beauty. It is also a confidence of a woman who, because of age-related changes, decided that she can't wear a skirt anymore.
Okay. And it's also deeply functional. They're poorly designed joints, somebody once said to me. They're badly designed joints.
Knees are terrible. But the skin on the knees, gravity-wise, will go into wrinkles. When we lose collagen, the skin will go into a bit of wrinkle. So we can, in the same way as we target wrinkle and loss of collagen on your face, we can do it there. And it's microneedling, it is injectables, it is radio frequency, it is muscle. There are many things we can do with knees, but nobody ever thinks about it, right?
You do.
Oh, I do. I think about it every day.
What have you witnessed as a practitioner in terms of the way you've healed people through your work?
I think what I do is a little bit different again, and this is where functional aesthetics come in on. Right now, I am working with a patient whose aesthetics and the way they look is zero of their concerns. It is recovery after a stroke. And we use a lot of muscle work. We're doing a lot of muscle work. So the way she looks doesn't matter. I have patients in their 60s, 70s. I'm looking here, they're all young faces. I have patients in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, closer to 90s. And again, we work on the function of the body. And of course, I have a lot of, the dreaded word, menopause came in. So I have a lot of patients in, around, and after menopause where your body will need a little bit of support. When it comes to skin, joints, muscles, absolutely.
So for you then, healing is about function, would you say? Or it's about improving function?
I think for me, if I rephrase you a little bit, for me, aesthetic medicine is not about the way we look. And probably because, I worked as a psychiatrist for so many years.
Yeah, you're very
It is never about the way we look. It is the way we feel in our body. The way we feel in our skin, the way we operate our body, the way we function. Yes, if I want to look good in a pair of jeans, I will go into aesthetic medicine, but there is more to aesthetic medicine than just looking good in a pair of jeans.
Wonderful. I mean, Dr. Mahsa, is that your experience as well?
Yes, I mean, the innovation in dentistry has been so slow if you compare to skin, to acupuncture, to other things.
Why do you think that is?
because really there is not new technologies coming up. There is not new ideas coming up. However, we are in a very, very, very interesting time now. We have AI, we have artificial intelligence coming up. We have all the digital X-rays coming up. So it's a very interesting time. But I was thinking last night, let's go back to 1920, 1930. When you look at the pictures from those times, what do you see? You see yellow teeth, you see crooked teeth, and that could be a perception of beauty back then, a perception of wealth, because you could drink wine, you could smoke, you could show your yellow teeth.
Interesting.
Crooked teeth, it was charismatic. Crooked teeth could be a beauty. So the perception of beauty was very different than it is today. But the pursuit of beauty and happiness, we're all experiencing it on a daily basis. If you showed them our teeth today, they would think we are aliens or implants, white piano teeth. If you show our teeth 50 years onwards, they're going to think we were aliens.
Yeah.
So the perception continues to change. But it's the client that tells us what to do. 20 years ago, in my 20s, I went to my doctor and I said, I want a small nose. I want cat eyes. And he looked at me, he said, but you're naturally beautiful. I said, I don't want natural. I don't like natural. Do I look natural? Today, I remove my fillers. I remove my jawline. I want natural. I am telling my doctor what I need. So what clients are coming now to us, they want healthy, natural teeth.
Wow.
They want their own teeth.
Okay, so they want their own teeth, but as good as they can possibly be.
As good as they can possibly be.
But not...
But I always say, when a patient comes in, I said, you have an open wound. Our mouth is an open wound. Imagine if you have an open wound on your knee. What do? You take care of it. You make sure you have no bacteria. You put maybe something on top of it. How can you have an open wound in your mouth where you have constant immigration of harmful bacteria that is going down to the rest of your body? Because it's a gateway to your body, and you don't take care of it. You don't take care of the gums, where it's the best place for bacteria to grow. It's moist, it's great temperature, they flourish. And you don't take care of your gums, those harmful bacteria are the ones that go down to your body. They go to your liver, they go to the bloodstream, they go to your gut. And you can tell me you take supplements for your gut, you have a good diet. If you don't have any good gums, if your gums are bleeding every day, you have constant migration of bacteria to the rest of your body.
So again, you're interested in predominantly in health.
Correct. I think the mouth is not separate from the rest of the body.
Yeah.
I think your mouth is part of your body. You cannot just heal one part of your body and think that the rest is going to be fine.
But do you think historically we've thought about it as quite separate?
It was very separate before. This is very new, that what bacteria in the mouth does. I mean, the latest that was in 2023 was the big research about how the bacteria in the mouth actually can be connected to Alzheimer's.
I just heard
it's
this
huge.
really recent. This is extraordinary.
It's extraordinary and it's huge. I mean, the harmful bacteria in the mouth are being connected to so many things. For example, fibromyalgia, chronic inflammation of muscles. Patients come to us from the doctor, referred from the doctor, where they have done everything they could. And they now tell us, please remove the mercury from the mouth. Please treat the gums.
Okay.
Because we believe these two are connected to the symptoms of fibromyalgia.
So it's about having a more sort of holistic understanding of the body, and the mouth is essential to that.
Absolutely.
What changes have you seen in what people say? This is obviously a huge change, but I'm guessing this is medically driven. This isn't your clients.
So for me, artificial intelligence and stem cell is going to be the future. I mean, look a couple of months ago. In Hollywood, the script writers, they went on strike because they thought artificial intelligence is taking over our job. But look at Harrison Ford now. He has now come out, and artificial intelligence has made him 20 years younger in a movie. If you ask him, he will say artificial intelligence is amazing. So artificial intelligence is now in a different way of people and dentists thinking about it. I think it's amazing. It's going to detect gum disease, cancer, and other things in the mouth in a very, very early stage. And it's going to actually tell us about the treatment. where cancer in the mouth usually we detect it in a very late stage.
Right.
In such a stage that sometimes patients, they lose half of their tongue, half of their lip, other problems. Artificial intelligence is going to detect the gum disease, the cancer and other disease in the mouth in a very early stage, and that, I think, is going to be the biggest innovation.
So for you, you think the future of healing is AI?
AI and stem cells. So
Okay.
regenerative dentistry. You're going to grow teeth.
Wow.
So don't worry about eating sugar and sweets.
Can I ask, what's your number one tip for gum health?
You know, gum health, everybody tells me, I floss and it bleeds sometimes. No, if it bleeds, you have inflammation. You have bacteria in your mouth. So for me, it means hygienist every 3 months, because the hygienist is the one that will detect where you have gum disease. Okay. Secondly is the home care. And home care, if you go to a pharmacy and you ask the pharmacist, my gums are bleeding, they will give you the harshest chemical because they want you to use it for 2 days and get rid of it. But it gets rid of the symptom, but it does so bad for your mouth. Harmful chemicals, strong chemicals, it kills good and bad bacteria in your mouth. So where is the balance? If you lose the balance in the flora in the mouth, you are in a very, very deep sea. So what I have done, I have actually come up with the products that are organic, that will target the harmful bacteria in the mouth, but it will boost the good bacteria. I want the balance in the mouth to be restored.
So as there's increasing understanding, we're kind of living in this age of Zoe and Dr. Tim Spector, there's increasing understanding about the bacteria in the gut. You think we are moving towards...
It's connected.
Yeah.
It's connected.
Right. So, and then in the same way, they are absolutely intrinsic to our health.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think whatever happens in your mouth is definitely a sign what's happening in your body.
Okay,
When
okay.
you go to an acupuncturist, correct me if I'm wrong, they will say the first thing, can I look at your tongue? Because the tongue says a lot about what goes on in your body. Please don't ignore your mouth.
Yeah. So it's a diagnostic. It's
Yes.
yeah. Talking of which, Ross Barr.
Hi.
Hello. What does healing mean to you?
I think it's changed recently, my perception of healing. I
Okay.
think that the medicine that I practice is generally about two sides of it. It's one about the cessation of symptoms.
Yeah.
It's about clearing up the manifestation of ill health. But there's a really good saying in Chinese medicine that if the spirit's in good order, the body can heal almost anything. So a lot of what I seem to see as being healing is really, it's not just about people's symptoms clearing up, it's more about them being more aligned in their own life, doing what they're supposed to be doing,
Okay.
being more peaceful. I've kind of noticed in recent years that peace is kind of a commodity that a lot of us have lost.
Yeah.
Or it's the common complaint I see in clinic now more than ever, that people are often being really healthy and from a certain perception, but
Yeah.
they have no peace. And peace for me is really what healing's about. It's about feeling better. It's about sleeping deeper. It's about being less anxious, you know.
You have a theory is that we should all live a little bit more like it's the 90s, so we don't have constant access to information and podcasts.
There's a definite correlation. The happiest people I know are the ones that spend less time online.
Right.
It's a very simple equation.
That's something you've observed in your clients and in everyone you know.
Anyone I've ever met or
Okay.
know, but certainly like with my job, I get to see a kind of snapshot about what's going on in society all at once. And the more balanced individuals, the happiest ones, they're just on their phone less.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
less, they're not fucking around online when they could be doing something much better for them, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's something I've definitely noticed. But I do believe the 1990s was a really nice period to grow up, because then we had the ability to do one singular thing at a time.
Yeah.
When we used to put a movie on, we would commit to that movie and do nothing else, and as a result, get the full enjoyment or the full emotional arc of that movie. Whereas now we'll put something on and kind of be feeling like we should maybe be emailing or looking
Yeah.
at our phones at the same time. So, yeah, the ability to do one thing at one time it seems to be something that people have lost, from my perspective.
So you say your understanding of healing has evolved and changed.
Yeah.
What sort of trends have you seen in the way, the things that we need to heal from, I suppose. You once said to me that you think you had never seen so many people in sort of so frazzled as we are now.
Yeah, certainly the last couple of years since COVID and onwards, I've never seen so many people operating at a level of adrenaline and cortisol. And that would be people that I'd known for many years and that have been arguably balanced and quite peaceful in their lives. There was kind of an ambient anxiety that came with COVID. And a lot of people I notice are still reverberating from that. And
right.
The way that shows itself is the difficulty in feeling peace. Because adrenaline and cortisol was designed for us to evade danger or run away from lions, and we're running on it in disproportionate amounts, so it causes us to overtly risk assess or catastrophize or just generally feel like we can't do one thing at a time. You know, those people that I know that used to sit down and read a book, now at best will find they can skirt through a magazine, but at the same time they feel like they should be doing something else. So that's definitely a trend I've noticed, but healing for me now is more about peace.
Yeah.
I mean, I do a lot of cosmetic acupuncture as well, and you know, it's completely evident that when somebody looks better, they feel better. Mm-hmm. But somebody really looks better when they're happy, and you see that in their eyes. Like there's a big thing in Chinese medicine, we're all about the spirit and how it shows in the eyes. So.
It's a loop, right? Like you can't really see where one ends and the other begins.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think, I mean, I suppose, do each of you think that healing means more now in the way that Ross was just talking about the importance of it now? Have you, Galyna, have you seen a change in what people need and want?
I think there is actually a theme that a lot of panelists today has touched on, whether it is overusing of the active ingredients and not preserving their barrier, the skin barrier, whether it is going from max to max. You know, we live in an era of maximalism. God, I'm Ukrainian, help me with the word. That's thing. When I have patients that come in and some of them have tried every single treatment under the roof.
Wow. For
their body contouring, nothing has worked. They haven't committed to anything. They've tried. So I think we live in a world of overwhelmed actions and emotions. And I think there was a word, one of the panelists talked about moderation, whether it's good or bad. I think the word I want to bring on what I'm seeing is balance a little bit. Mm-hmm. So if we just pause and commit, use some consistency, whether it is supplements when it comes to world of wellness, whether it is skincare, whether it is aesthetic treatments when it comes to, whether it comes to skincare. I think if we just pause, commit, see the outcome of our commitment, so the reward system will be activated in your brain. Mm-hmm. You'll get your own endorphins just from your own actions. Then we're going to see the results. So for me, I'm seeing unbalanced.
So pause and knowledge as well. And it's also, interestingly, that Ross is talking about cortisol, because cortisol causes you to gain weight, right? So
absolutely.
If you're stressing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And actually raised cortisol is not the problem. The problem is there is no raised cortisol because your adrenals are completely burned out and you are no longer able to produce cortisol. That's even more problematic. That was my case personally. So I think just a little pause.
Yeah.
An acknowledgement of yourself and balance out the input and outcome. You have to see the outcome of your own input, which means consistency.
Mahsa, are you seeing people overwhelmed by choice as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm coming back to what you have discussed after COVID. We have also seen an increase of patients who come in that have become a heavy grinder and clench. They clench and grind their teeth. Yeah. And they come in and they have spasm in their muscles, they have headaches, they have shoulder ache, and they're like, please, can you give me a treatment? I say, okay, my treatment will be this. Go home for the next 2 to 4 weeks and practice gratefulness. Okay. Practice gratefulness, sleep well, and spend more time with your family and your friends. As you said, away from your phone.
Apparently grinding used to be a thing we used to do in primal times, and it was all about going into battle the next day.
Okay.
I mean, grinding, it's because of stress. When we are stressed, we grind. The brain picks it up as a habit, and we continue to do it. The symptoms of grinding usually comes 6 months after the trauma. For example, you go through a divorce, a marriage, a trauma. 6 months after that, you see symptoms.
Oh, wait,
Headache,
because
shoulder ache.
is that how long it takes our brain to process us and get us to that
Correct.
point?
It takes
to the grinding?
how long it takes for you to see the symptoms.
Okay.
Now,
Oh, sorry.
of course, there are
Of course.
very good treatments. You wear a night guard, you see acupuncture, and they do acupuncture of the muscles to release the spasm.
Mm-hmm.
But there is stress. The stress, I can give you a night guard, but I cannot change your
Yeah.
lifestyle.
Yeah.
I think when a patient comes into the room to me, I look at my patient, I look at the face, I talk to the patient, I get to know that patient before I recommend the treatment. I think you need to see the whole body and treat the whole body and the mind. Without the mind being healthy, how can your body be healthy? It's a combination of mind and soul. And I think it's good for us to know. We wake up in the morning and the first thing we think about, let me go my email. Please be grateful for your health because that's your wealth. So gratefulness in the morning, 10 minutes, just think, I'm so grateful I have my teeth and I can actually chew my food and I can actually digest it in a proper way. Because maybe next door there is somebody with dentures that cannot chew their food, that have problem with digestive system. So I am healthy. And I think gratefulness is a step towards a healthy mind and soul.
Are you a gratitude fan, Ross?
Yeah. But I think practicing gratitude is often a bit like meditating as well. That they're kind of practices that they're kind of the gift of the healthy.
Yes. Yeah.
Like it's easy to do that when you're balanced, more balanced. But I think, when the shit's hit the fan and people are in crisis or trauma, it's really difficult. Then you're not going to suddenly start to be able to do a great Headspace app or meditation or sit and write your intentions. Like that is when I think we really need other ways to give somebody the same physiological feeling of meditation, but without them actually having to go through the torture of trying to do it when they're cortisoled up. And that's why I think those old, like some of the best things I observe of patients is when they just go to the cinema for 2 hours and switch their phone off.
Okay.
Because physiologically all the cortisol, adrenaline goes back into their endocrine system.
Okay.
And they're being entertained. They're not sitting there punishing themselves at home because they can't meditate. It's yet another thing to feel terrible about.
So forced detachment from the rest of the world somehow.
I've read old Chinese textbooks that are 1,000 years old that have been translated, and to say then that meditation is the gift of the healthy, I think is quite interesting.
Yes, yeah.
Because I think it's just really difficult to do when you're up against it, and so that's why I think we've got to find ways to give the same physiological benefit, but without.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes so resonates what you're saying. We force ourselves greatly into a kind of predisposed meditation, breath work.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to take supplements, so I'm just going to jump on my magnesium and there'll be no level. So we force, this is another kind of almost overwhelmed emotion that goes into wellness. We have to get healthy. We have to get well.
That's so true. It's just another obligation.
Yeah, I think the health industry is one of the worst things about wellness is that it just gives often people more things to feel terrible about that they're not doing.
Yeah.
And that's not what it should be about.
Absolutely. Can't keep on top of all my supplements. Yeah.
And if you take the wrong supplement, it's definitely not anxiety that's going to get better. I can see. So if you take the wrong type of magnesium, please read the label. We're not going to go into details, but it's important. I think another thing that happens in my practice very, very much, and all my patients, if there is a patient of mine here, they're not allowed to give names to their body parts, squeeze their cellulite to show it better to me, squeeze that tiny little belly into a huge kind of little tiny ball and say, this is the fat I hate. So I think we also like to label ourselves or label our body parts.
Interesting.
The amount of photos from Zara changing room, it has the worst lighting.
Oh my God,
so
doesn't
your
it?
cellulite will look worse, no matter who you are, what you are. You're going to have cellulite at Zara, so just be aware of that.
That's so true. I think there should be some sort of list of where the bad lighting is.
I can tell you, London-based, I can tell you where not to take photos because they send me those photos. Every single one of my patients have my WhatsApp. I can show you where the worst lighting is. be nice to your body.
Yeah.
Like you said, be great, whether what you want to call it gratitude, whether you want to call it cinema, no phone, no,
Yeah.
biohacking, use the biohacks. Just be
kind.
kind to yourself.
Yeah.
It's an able body. It's a fantastic body. It keeps me going.
And don't go to Zara. Or don't take pictures in
God,
Zara.
do not. Okay, you
No,
can
sorry,
send
I'm
them
not
to me.
saying
I'll
don't-
tell you off.
I'd never tell you that. So then self-criticism and that sort of anger with ourselves is a inhibition towards healing, I guess.
Absolutely. And of course, I don't want to bring another media and social media and filtered photos. I don't want to even touch base on it because we are now realistically understanding that it's a realm of its own. It's not the world we live in. But unfortunately, it has a huge impact, or the decade of uncontrolled social media had an impact on us. So yeah, there's a lot
Do you think we can get over that? Well, Ross, that's quite a good question for you. Do you think we can get over the harm social media's done us? Oh, that's quite a big question, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've got 2 quite young kids, and I'm in denial.
Concerned.
My hope is that they're in 10 years' time, they're going to be like, "What were you lot doing?
You were
Why are
mad.
you so, like cigarettes are to us?"
Yeah.
I hope. I don't actually believe that's going to happen. That's my hope. But I mean, human beings. Yeah, I hope at some level we're going to realise what it's doing to us. And I think I notice that on a daily basis with just one-on-one with patients. The ones that delete apps, the ones that spend less time online, all of a sudden find a greater level of peace.
So yeah, delete those apps.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we'll work it out sooner or later.
I hope so. Sadly, we don't have time for any Q&As, but hopefully our panelists are going to be hanging around a little bit later. But I would like to finish by asking each of you if there's just one thing you can recommend that we do.
See an expert. Don't Google. Go see somebody who resonates with you, whose philosophy is your philosophy. Go see them, have a chat. Talk. Human talk.
Mahsa?
That was exactly my mind as well. Listen to your body. If something is saying something to you, go and fix it. Go and find an answer. Your body is telling you how it feels. Listen to it.
Ross J. Barr?
I would say ask yourselves what's the thing you would find hardest to do in terms of your own health. And it's usually the thing we would leave to the end.
And it's the one we need to do most.
That's generally the thing that will make us feel better quicker, but the one we'd pay experts, we'd pay people, like people come and see me and would much rather pay me loads of money to treat them than just give up coffee or go to bed earlier.
That's
or
directed.
stop booze.
That
so
is
I think
directed at me.
there's a connection with addiction there, but really when you want to feel better, just really be honest with yourself and say, what's the thing I'd leave to the end? And generally that's the thing that will help you the most.
Oh, so wise.
You need to give up coffee. I've said that for years.
I know.
Coffee break.
Thank you so much. You've been an absolutely wonderful group of panelists, and it's been such a pleasure. And thank you all for coming too.